What's going on, guys? So in today's video, I'm going to try to answer some questions that were really good questions that some viewers posted on one of the last videos I did on the Brookstone. And that is, how am I able to use 3 ACs at the same time on a 50 amp connection? Also, how effective are they? Because, you know, I know some people probably know the answer to this if you follow the channel for a while, but there's going to be a lot of folks who just don't know, and they're not familiar with our setup here, so let's go over that. Hang tight, I'll be right back. Okay, so we're inside the fifth wheel, and you know, before I talk about the air conditioning, let me talk about some other things that we do out here to keep it relatively fresh inside, nice and cool. First of all, you know, we have both day-night roller shades, which are these blackout blinds on top of these screens. And, you know, some people would just assume just drop the blackout blinds down if you want to try to keep the interior cool if you're not going to be in it. But the reality is you want to drop them both down because the screen will actually block some radiant heat as well as the blinds themselves. So you're giving yourself a little bit of extra protection. And the way you can tell is, like this back one right here, I only had the blackout blind down and it was pretty warm. Whereas on this one, I had them both down, and the screen right here, the blackout blind, is very cool to the touch, whereas the screen is a little bit warm. That said, though, the windows themselves are just warm. They're not what I would consider to be hot, especially when you compare a dual pane window like we have here to your traditional single pane window. So as expensive as it is, if you think that keeping your RV cool when it's hot outside or keeping your RV warm when it's cold outside is going to be an important factor for you in terms of enjoying your RV, then I would definitely recommend considering dual pane windows if the RV that you're looking at has that as an optional feature. They're very expensive. They're very, very expensive, but it might be something worth considering because it might actually cost you less than perhaps, you know, adding another air conditioning unit or something else, because they certainly do help cool the interior of the RV, or at least keep it from getting too hot, which is really good. Anyways, back to the topic. So when we keep it out here at the property, I actually set only one of the air conditioners to come on at 82 degrees, just to basically keep the interior so it doesn't get too hot. I don't want it to get up to 90 degrees. I don't want it to get insanely hot inside of here. So again, we only keep this one AC running, and it only kicks on automatic when it reaches 82 degrees. And you can see it set for auto, 82 degrees, cool. And that's just zone 2. Zone 1 would be the air conditioning unit back here, and zone 3 would be the air conditioning in the bedroom. And they're all controlled through this RVcomfort.zc climate control thermostat. So this is what controls all 3 of them. I think this can actually control a 4th, but I could be wrong. It looks like there's enough room here for a number 4, maybe even a 5. But this is super cool. It's not super intuitive though. So, you know, if you have guests staying in the RV, it's best that you set it for them and just kind of, you know, touch base with them to find out specifically how they feel. These right here are placed throughout the RV, and these are the sensors for the thermostat. So these are what feed the actual air temperature to the thermostat, so you know approximately, you know, what type of interior temperature you're dealing with. And down here is a Simply Safe thermostat. So this also monitors the temperature, and from my smartphone I can check what the temperature inside of the RV is. So that'll also kind of clue me into, you know, a problem potentially taking place with the air conditioning unit. And as you can probably tell, zone 2 air conditioner just kicked on. So, you know, it definitely is in that 82 degree area. Now, the outside temperature today is 91 degrees, and it feels like 101 degrees. So it's doing a pretty effective job. But again, I have all the screens closed and all the blinds closed, the blackout blinds. Basically, when you get inside of this unit, it's pitch black inside, and even though it's super sunny outside. So those are all things you want to consider. How well are you keeping radiant heat from coming into your RV? Because that's going to certainly reduce the effort an air conditioner has to put out in order to keep the interior cool if you're blocking heat from getting in. Even if you have to do it by getting some of that Reflectix stuff that you put over your windows, aluminum foil, anything you can do to prevent heat transfer inside of your RV is going to make your air conditioning units work significantly less. And it can even reduce humidity, condensation, and things like that. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and kick all the air conditioning units on, and then I'll talk to you about why I can run 3 ACs at the same time in here. Now, sometimes this thermostat's a little finicky, so we'll see if it all works out well. First, I'm going to drop this unit down to 80 degrees. Then I'm going to switch to zone 3. I'm going to put it in... This is that problem I have sometimes. I think it has to find the air conditioning unit, and then... There we go. I'm going to switch this to auto. I'm going to lower that one. Well, that one's already pretty low. I'm going to lower this one down to 75 degrees. I guess raise it up, but, you know, to allow it to kick on. I'm going to wait until that one kicks on. So, in the bedroom now, this one should kick on momentarily. There we go. And then about 10 seconds later, you'll kind of hear the compressor kick on, which is what draws the most current. Right now it's the fan. And in a second, you should hear the compressor. There we go. Compressor just kicked in. You can usually hear a little click. It's generally the relay clicking on. Alright, so now I have the bedroom unit running as well as the center unit here running. So now I'm going to switch to zone 1. I'm going to go through the same thing. I'm going to put this one on automatic. It's on cool. I'm going to drop the temperature. I'll put it at 75. Alright. Now this unit should kick on. It's kind of interesting because this duct right here is one of the more powerful blowing ducts, and another AC unit kicks on, you just feel the air ramp up significantly. And you can hear something flapping in there. I think I have a little piece of that foil tape that's a little loose. It makes a little bit of noise, but the fan just kicked on, and in about 10 seconds you should hear it click over and the compressor should kick on. Okay. Alright, so now we have all 3 ACs running. A lot of air coming out of here right now. A lot of air coming out of all my vents, actually. This one feels like just a strong fan's blowing on you. This one also is doing a really good job blowing. I could probably orient that one a different way. Alright, so let's talk about it. Alright, I'm going to sit back here a little bit and we're going to discuss what we have going on. So first of all, the air conditioning units that we have are Coleman Mach 3 Quiet Cool. These are their Quiet Cool systems. They don't require those extra return air ducting, but these are 13.5K units. So these are not 3 15,000K units. It's not one 13.5 and one 15K. These are 3 13.5 or 13,500 BTU units. So they put out quite a bit for their size. They're very efficient because you don't have to have the return airs coming in from the side and then kind of feeding it in. So that's a good thing about them. But the key behind these is that they draw less power than the 15K units, and it gives me the ability to run 3 of them simultaneously. Now, the other thing to consider is what I did when I started them up. I did not start them all up at the same time because I did not want that type of surge coming off of my 50 amp connection right here. And in reality, it's 2 50 amp legs, so it's really up to 100 amps worth of power, but it's going to be limited by what the RV is actually able to use at any given time, simply because it's going through the IC3000 converter that's down there. So, that said, because I stagger them when I start them, it's not putting any one major load on the entire electrical system at once. So I have the 3 13.5K units, and I start this one, I start the front one, and then I start this one. Or it really doesn't matter if it's in that order, it's just I usually have this one that's already set to turn on, and it's a lot easier for me just to drop the temperature on that one down until that one kicks on, and then start whichever other one I want. But because it's usually set for zone 2 at that point, I just go to zone 3, do the bedroom like you saw, and then zone 1. And then I wait until one comes on, I wait until I hear the compressor kick on before I go to the next one and make the change. So now, everything's running really good. Now, some people may ask, can I run the microwave at the same time that I'm running these 3 AC units? Let's check that out. So, it's a high point residential microwave. I'm going to go ahead and put this on, let's do it on popcorn. Microwave is running. Air conditioners, all 3 of them are running. Refrigerator is running. You know, I don't know what else I can really kick on to verify what's running. I could probably look at the screen and I'll see what my total amperage draw is. but I wouldn't want to plug a hairdryer in or a vacuum or the Ninja right now. I'd want to finish off what I'm doing here, but you can clearly see that this is running. So yeah, I have the capability of running everything that I need to run in here off, which is really nice. And if anything, it gives you that peace of mind to know that at least if you have guests in here, you're not having to baby every power item in here at the same time to make sure everything works. Now, again, I do have to tell people, try not to run the microwave and a hairdryer at the same time if you're running 3 AC units. You know, you still want to be careful with what you run. However, it's not as important if you are running things at the same time, so long as you're not running any super high power things. Most people don't realize a hairdryer, curling iron, things like that are upwards of 800 to 1500 watts worth of power. So it's a significant drop. And then using something like cooking, anything that generates heat, that's probably the best way, unless it's like gas powered, right? Like a stove that uses propane. But anything that generates heat or has a compressor is going to use a good amount of power. And you do want to monitor that power usage. But again, because we're, you know, connected to 50 amp shore power, it gives us the ability to have more things run at the same time. And because the way we ran our air conditioning units, having 3 of them and 13.5 kBTU units, really gives us the ability to run everything that we need to run almost simultaneously. Now, some people may ask, should they get a 3rd unit added, or should they replace their 15K unit with a 13K, then add another 13K, and then use the existing 13K? So basically, should they switch to a setup like this? You know, you could, but you'd still have to be very careful how you use the power in your RV. And you'd also have to be very careful on, you know, how the power is actually ran and how it's designed in your RV. What some people will do is they'll add another unit, and then they'll simply put a traditional, you know, 120 volt outlet that they can plug directly into the, you know, standard 110 outlet on the pedestal. So they're using the 50 amp outlet to power their ACs and everything inside their RV, but then they're using the 110 outlet to plug in and to be able to power another air conditioning unit or window unit or something like that. But you know, it's comfortable in here. It's absolutely comfortable in here. The thermostat hasn't registered a drop yet, but I suspect that it could relatively easily get the unit down to 75 degrees. I don't think we'd have any problem dropping it down to 75 degrees right now. And mainly because when I got in here, this unit was off. It was 82 degrees. This one just kicked on while I was actually filming. And as hot as it is outside, 91 degrees, 101 degree heat index, it's doing a relatively effective job overall at controlling the moisture content, the condensation, as well as the heat inside of this RV. And then you guys already know that this is pretty much a fixture in the RV. It's this little EvaDry little tiny dehumidifier that I drilled a hole in right there, so when it fills up, the water simply drains into my gray tank. Little hack that I did that gives me the ability to let this thing run non-stop without having to constantly come out here and drain this thing out. So, works real well. And yeah, I've been really happy with this EvaDry. And the way you can tell a dehumidifier is working is the fact that there's water in the tank right here. And, you know, when it fills up, it gets to the top and starts pouring out. And we never have to really worry about it. I also keep cameras inside here. I got a Simply Safe camera over here. I'm gonna have a camera on the other side over there, and it just lets me kind of monitor the inside of the RV. I try to come out here at least once or twice a week so I can get inside of it and see specifically what's going on, if there's any, you know, rat droppings, anything like that. Thankfully, I haven't found anything. We keep a pretty substantial amount of rat repellent around the outside of the RV. We have lights underneath the RV. We have an ultrasonic little thing that I have over there that flashes. You can see the little light on right there and makes a noise. I also have the other kinds that plug in. We try to do our best, and then just being out here, spending time in it, having company over. And here's the big one: clean up when you're done. There's some little carpet pieces right there. But if you spill something, if you have kids in here, if you have desserts, anything you do in your RV, before you leave, clean it up, mop it. Do an effective job at keeping stuff that you would normally eat off of the floor in the trash, and then taking the trash with you, and you'll really reduce the chance that you're going to have bugs or rodents inside of your RV. But yeah, it is it's actually really comfortable in here, and it feels dry. It doesn't feel humid, even though outside the humidity is insane right now. It's like 85-90% humidity. So The inside feels dry, it feels comfortable. It's super windy outside, as you can probably tell just by looking at the trees. And yeah, it's been a really cool place. We've had family stay in here so far. We've camped out here. I got a little barbecue pit that I've put out here now because we finally got our egg from the other property over here. Got the fire pit, got the picnic table. I mean, this is like a B&B at this point. It's just super awesome to have it out here, and it gives us more capability than we've ever had. And again, the view is absolutely amazing. You know, it's just really, really nice. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you've enjoyed this video. Effectiveness of cooling right now, like I said, it is absolutely cool in here. I'd probably say it's probably in the mid to high 70s at this point. And I never understand why this thermostat doesn't move much. It'll start to move, it just dropped to 81. I don't know. But yeah, it's doing a really good job. It's really comfortable in here. You could easily, you know, have people in here and feel comfortable even though it's super hot outside. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you've enjoyed this video. If you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.